Hey everybody, what's up? It is La Reina de Mota. It's Anna. I'm going live. I've got a whole little setup now. It's really weird to me. I've been studying up on live streams and all of that. As many of you guys know, I actually have 2 degrees in IT. So this is kind of, in my realm. And my digital agency is growing, so I definitely had to brush up. So I've been taking a couple of classes online and gathering information and building my brand. So yay! That is actually over here. I don't know. I think it's over here. This is my new, one of my many versions of a icon that's going to be coming on my clothing line. So it says La Reina de Mota over her eyes. It's kind of blocking her face. If you guys remember when Madonna came out and she had a tour where she was kind of, blocking, hiding, that kind of thing. So that kind of represents what I have been told I needed to do was to basically work in the background of companies. So that kind of represents that. And then, of course, you see her blowing O-rings out. And yeah, so that's one of the new logos that I've designed for a t-shirt line that's going to be coming out called La Reina de Mota. So this whole live stream I wanted to do with this new setup, this banner, and it's called Motivation. If you guys know, I launched a YouTube channel and a YouTube show called Motivation. And they're very short clips where I talk about how to cope with certain normal everyday things that we deal with. And you can use cannabis, Mota, to help you get along the way. So I'm just going to sesh with you guys for a little bit, and I want to tell you more about some things that I'm doing and some things that are coming, and also a little bit about where I've been. So some of you guys know that, initially it was very controversial when I entered the industry. It was a very it's been a hell of a ride. That's all I can really say. It's been super, super kind of up and down along the way. And I had some very low lows. I had some very immature and catty episodes, should I say, when I initially came in. And it really did take kind of being ran through the dirt. And that's what I kind of felt like I was, being ran through the dirt, and my name and reputation kind of being ran through the dirt, and kind of, raked over coals. And so I took a very low low. My family had lost everything at one point after entering the industry. I made some very poor decisions in business. I did some work for people who didn't pay me, which is a common thing that's happening in the industry. It's not just happening to me. It's happened to many people. And come to find out, it's happened to many women. And I ended up, investing a lot and getting no ROI. So instead of taking it in a business route, when I initially was faced with these situations some 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, I initially took a catty approach to it. They were talking stuff about me. I talked stuff about them. It was back and forth, and it didn't get anywhere. It actually prolonged the process. By the time I was able to pull my head out of my arse, it was too late. I couldn't do anything about it. I could not get, the money that I deserved for the work that I put out. And we ended up losing everything. I lost my SUV, we lost our townhome, and there's 5 in my family. So 5 of us to recover. It took us a while. It took us 3 years. We We slept in basements. We paid what we could. I started working Uber and Lyft. I referred people to Uber and Lyft so I could get extra commissions. My husband worked graveyard shifts at Amazon during high intense holiday seasons, which means he was rarely home. And when he did get home, and he was in a lot of pain, he has herniated discs in his back, but he had to do what he had to do so that we could get out of the rut. And we did. We put our nose to the grind, and eventually, after hopping from family house to hotel, we were able to get out of the rut, and we have been in our home for well, since October of 2019. We were finally in our own home. So I reflect back, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this live stream, and it's called Reflections: Growing Up and Manifesting Your Destiny, because I had to reflect on the situations. I was really quick at that time, not now, but in the beginning, I was really quick to be like, no, it's their fault. It's what they're saying. If they wouldn't talk shit about me, I wouldn't talk shit about them. It's them. And I had to realize that, you know, as much as I say it's them, I have to say, hey, well, how did I react to it? Didn't react in such a professional way. I didn't react in such a mature way. I didn't react in a way that would have been productive. I took a very one-sided approach to conflict. And I had to realize it's because I did not have other tools to remedy or come up with a remedy for conflict. My remedy in life, still, you know, from an early age till that time was, you know what, we need to go outside and we need to settle this. Like, we need to go fight. And I had to realize that that's not a productive way of growth. That's not a productive way of resolution. It doesn't really help all the time. Sometimes it helps in the sense that you fight with somebody physically, verbally, whatever, you part ways, and then you never talk again. And that's not necessarily a good resolution process either. So I had to reflect. I had to reflect on the things that I was doing. I had to take time to reflect on the aspects that that I was responsible for, that I could control, which were how I reacted and the things that I did to remedy the situation. Now, if I did things, took steps to remedy a situation, and they continued, I had to realize, and I reflected on this as well, I had to realize that that meant I can continue to stay positive and attempt, but if they don't, I have to be willing to let it be. I have to be willing to take the steps to let it go. So, and that was hard. That was super hard. I was a person who held grudges, and I felt that that was a way of protecting myself from having people come back into my life and hurt me. And so I had to realize that holding grudges wasn't doing anything for me. I had to realize that if I cannot change the way other people behave, I have to change the way I choose to behave or I choose to react. So I worked on it. It's taken 2 years. And in that 2-year period, I've fallen back onto, you know, being catty initially, followed back onto talking mess about people because they're talking mess about me. And in this last year, I've taken extra precaution to not do that, to not engage in that at all. So, and it's actually helped me, also rid my circle of people who cannot get out of that process. Just recently parted ways with an individual who cannot help but continuously be catty and insensitive in comments racial comments. And it's just not something that I needed in my circle. It wasn't productive. It wasn't positive. So, I tried to be very constructive in the criticism that I gave to this individual. And she kind of ran with it. So she's staying in that catty position. And I'm just like, nope, we're good. We can part ways now. So that has been growth. That is part of me growing up. Now, as many of you guys know, when I came into this industry, I was on a platform of helping addicts recover because I was an addict. I was a meth addict for 6 years, from the time I was 19 till I was 27, 28. In the end, it was kind of patchy. It was here and there. I would quit and then I'd relapse, and then I'd quit and I'd relapse. And I was playing teeter-totter with my addiction. It took me a simple, break of coming to Colorado. My husband was actually from here. We came to Colorado to visit. I fell in love with Colorado and was like, I want to move there. And then we went back to Roswell, packed up our stuff, and 2 weeks later, we moved to Colorado. That was my last day ever doing methamphetamines again. Was October 9th, 2009, the day we drove here to move and relocate. I knew that that's what it was going to take. I knew that it was going to take me removing myself from that environment so that I could grow. So the same thing for weed. When I entered the weed industry and I had a circle that I was building, I started to realize that not everybody in that circle was for me. But because of my methamphetamine use, if you've ever, studied or know anything about methamphetamine addiction, it actually locks you in the age bracket mentally that you started at. So I started when I was 19. 6 years later, I was 28, 27, 28. And 7 years later, 8 years later, 27, 28, I had to grow. So it took some growing up. So I had to reflect on why I was the way I was and admit that my addiction had stunted me at that age. And it was taking me some time to actually progress and grow up and bring the maturity level. I had maturity levels in business because I've worked in some very high profile companies and in some very high profile departments that deal with security and IT. And I also taught pre-K for a long time. So I knew how to be professional in a job setting. But when it came to conflict resolution, I did not have those skills at all. So I had to reflect. In these last 2 years, that's what I've been doing, reflecting and growing up and progressing and admitting that I was stunted at that age that I started, and that I needed to progress in a more mature manner. And so this last year, I have been focused on my conflict resolution, dealing with all of it. And I came into this industry with traumatic experiences in my past already. I was kind of already tainted. And I say tainted as in I had some work to do. Like I had some emotional damage. And so I had to be able to reflect on that as well. This last 2 years have been a very tricky time, for sure. So I continue to reflect, continue to grow. And for the last, I'd say about 10 months, honestly, I have been focusing on manifesting my destiny, manifesting my goals, manifesting what I want to achieve. And so in that manifestation process, it took me sitting back and literally opening my eyes and looking at what I had in front of me, what opportunities were arising, what people were saying about the work that I've done. I have clients that I've been working with. And do I need to be desperate in seeking leads? Do I need to be particular in how I choose my clients? And so I did. I swallowed it all up. I got really scared because I was like, if I don't just take clients on, I'm not going to be able to make this. Like I need to take whatever clients come. And I had to step back and I just had to manifest. I had to realize what I had in front of me and see the opportunities and then say, okay, this is the avenue I want to go in. And so I selected what clients I was going to work with. And now I'm being very selective as to what clients I work with. And it was a great choice for me to take those 2 years and focus on me internally and me mentally and me emotionally, so that when I came back to taking clients and pursuing this business endeavor of creating this agency, that now we have clients ranging from legends in the industry all the way up to nationally recognized athletes that are building brands in the industry. And I'm able again to work with these individuals. I'm pretty stoked and amazed. I'm pretty happy because I'm in a great place to start doing this again. And I know a lot of people doubted me, and I doubted myself. Like, I completely understand the doubt. So if you are in a point where you're doubting yourself, and maybe there's some naysayers out there that are doubting you as well, just know that it really takes you realizing and reflecting on what you can do for you, not what other people perceive you as, but what you feel you need growth in, and putting it into action, creating a plan, looking at all of your options in life and manifesting what avenue to go in. Sometimes you're going to be scared with the options, but is it going to be better for you in the long run? And for me, it was. I'm very grateful to the people who have stood by me and supported me along the way. I am very grateful to have an amazing family. My kids are just rock stars. My husband's a rock star, and he puts up with a lot of shit. And I had to realize that as much as what people say about me hurts me, and I have to recognize that it does hurt my feelings, at the end of the day, what I think about me is what determines my success or my failure for that day, my success or my failure in the long run. So I have to give myself credit where credit's due. I have to give credit to other people where credit's due. I have to be able to recognize when, I have not done the right thing, and I have to be able to say, hey, in that situation, I could have done this better. And then the next time that I'm faced with the same situation, I will do this better. So, and that's allowed me growth, and it's allowed me to mature, and it's great. And now I walk into a room and I don't look to see who's looking at me. I continue with my goal for entering that room in the first place. I let a lot of that fear stop me from going out and participating in events. I let that fear of what people were going to say about me, or if I was going to stir up more gossip, by even entering the room. And I stopped myself from entering rooms. And that screwed me over. So when you're building a brand, you're building a business, or you're building, an empire, you can't let what other people perceive you as to stop you from growing. You have to continue your growth. So that's what it's taken. It's taken me 2 years, you guys, and I'm so stoked now because I'm looking at my client list, and I'm looking at the work that I have and the work that I'm doing and the projects that we're building, and I'm smiling for the first time. I'm super excited. And yesterday, we launched a client brand, and I'm going to brag a little bit. We launched a client brand on social media. We got 200 followers in the first 2 hours of launching the brand. And these individuals are athletes. These are nationally recognized athletes. They work in a competition industry that we all know and love. It's actually an entertainment industry. And we had Sasha Banks, WWE Sasha Banks, post a picture with the brand across, her t-shirt, and telling everybody to support this brand. So, and the owners of this brand are nationally recognized athletes who are associated with Sasha Banks. So it was pretty dope to see that post go up yesterday. Sasha proudly wearing my client's brand on her t-shirt and supporting my client's brand. And I had to take a second back, and I shed a little bit of a couple tears. I shedded yesterday after that post came out, because I had a few people that told me I was a one-trick pony. That working with people like Bonita Money and Marvin Washington was never going to happen for me again. And I just kept my nose to the grind, and now I'm working with legends in the industry, people who have their foot in the initial path of the industry, the initial legalization path of the industry. These are some serious OGs, not 9 years, 10 years in the business. We're talking about 25 plus years in the fight for legalization or decriminalization or patients over profit. I'm working with legends in the industry, and I'm working with nationally recognized athletes. And I'm nobody. I'm just a woman who, a mother, a wife who was born in California, grew up in Roswell, New Mexico. UFOs, woo! And moved to Colorado 9 years ago with the goal of just growing as an individual. And I could not be happier to say I am proud of who I am today. So that's all. Just wanted to share with you guys that, you can come from a place where people don't like you, people slam you, people talk about you, people make up shit about you. You can't help what people do. But you could definitely come from the dirt, and you can work your way up as long as you focus on yourself and what's going to be best for you. At the core, what was going to be best for me included what was going to be beneficial for my family as well, for growth. So I had to stop focusing on what people were going to say about me and focus on what was going to be best for my path. And so that reflection, that growing up, and that manifestation of what my destiny is going to be is what has led me here. And I'm super stoked to be sitting on my couch in my home after not having a home or a couch for a while. And on my new upgraded computer for my business, and sharing my story with you guys. So hopefully this can motivate you if you're in a spot where you feel like you're not growing. Maybe it's not fast enough. This is another thing. I wanted things to be fast because I was doing work fast, and it just wasn't fast enough for me. But I had to realize that it's not about speed. It's about quality. It's about building relationships and rapport with people and building bridges. And sometimes that takes burning other bridges so that you can continue your growth. And that's okay. It's normal to not necessarily just take everybody into your circle. So reflect on who you are. Reflect on where you've been compared to where you are today. Pursue growing up. If immaturity was a part of your development, grow up. It's okay to do that. It's okay to say, hey, I need to grow up. So reflect on where you've been, take steps to grow up, and then manifest where you want to go. It can totally be done if you are just willing to, worry about you and not worry about what other people perceive you as. So that's where I'm at now. And so I'm pretty stoked to have all this little stuff going on, like this new little frame. I've got a to figure out which way is which. I've got a new icon logo right here. You guys, if you see my live streams, you will see different ones of these that I've designed for a t-shirt line that we're putting out. It's called La Reina de Mota. It's all about motivation. And I've got some other stuff coming out too. But head over to Candela Labs at Premier Candela. That's with a K. That's my newest client. Also head over to Pharmacopoeia Life, ran by Aaron Thames, who is a legend in the industry. You guys check out Aaron Thames as well on his public page. Mwah! Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna sparky spark, toky toke, and get back to work. Love you guys. Oh, and don't forget Puff and Slurp. They're doing a live stream of the 420 movie. Yay! So if you don't have anything to do, it's gonna start in about 5 minutes. Love you guys so much. Peace, one love. I'm out.